Hi. First of all, my name is Melissa Enoch. I am a mental health therapist here in Alamance County. I've been in the field for 29 years. I like to tell people that my first book was written that was called The Strength of Her Words. That was my first book. I wrote it as a testament to all of the women who made a difference in my life. That was back in 2005. When I wrote it, I was sitting in church, Jeffries Baptist Church. I looked around and I saw women that gave my mother assistance as far as raising me. So I just wrote them and just told them, thank you. In mental health, it talks about giving gratitude for individuals that helped you. And so that's what I did, is I wrote different stories about those women with my birth mother and my mother who adopted me, and all the other women up until the age of 23 or 25, I forget how old it was. But anyway, so I started a nonprofit organization. The name of it is Women of Strength. It's womenofstrengthnc.webs.com. I started it at the time because there wasn't really anywhere for a mental health professional to go to have to communicate with other than people in there that they work with. So I started Women of Strength. We're an outreach program. We do things like we have a little free library in the town of Green Level where literacy is low. We accept donations for books for that. I started a scholarship in the name of my mother, the Vivian Jeffries Scholarship. It's for a young lady that wants to go into human services, whether that be nursing. That's at the Alamance Community College, University of North Carolina at Charlotte, Walden University, the University of Phoenix. And so I started that nonprofit. You're welcome to come in, ladies. I'm glad that you are down here. Started the nonprofit, started the scholarship for those women. And what else? So then doggone COVID came about, and during 2019, my mother got sick. And she had a stage 5 glioblastoma. This is my adopted mother. She had a stage 5 glioblastoma. She went from being a normal woman to not normal at all. I became her caretaker while running a business. I have 2 daughters who are back there filming, and I appreciate that. School's closed, and so now I'm a full-time caretaker for my mother, making sure my girls got to school on time. And all of those things. I had to be very trusting. I'm going to read from what I wrote about my mother during that time. And then on August 28, 2020, she passed away. So now here I am as a mental health professional needing mental health myself. I grieved her. And one of the ways that I grieved her, one of the ways I'll grieve is I started writing. So I wrote, I've got 99 problems, but being saved isn't one of them. And basically what it is, it's an intervention that I gave to my clients that I wrote for myself. And it just basically says that, you think you have one thing that's going on, but really it could be a multiple things. It could be grief, it could be depression, it could be all of those things. And as a mental health professional, a lot of times you spend a lot of time talking to the person, getting to know them, and doing the assessment. You burn a session or 2 until the person figures it out. So I wrote, I've got 99 problems, but being saved isn't one of them, as a way for you to go ahead and begin to reflect, be intuitive, and kind of look into those things. And I did that because I didn't really have anything to do with my time after she passed away. So 3 years later, it's 2023. I wanted to honor her. I had started writing her history probably about 25 years ago. She believed in oral history. And she told me about her family. And when I'm speaking about my mother, I'm not talking about my birth mother. I'm talking about a woman at 6 months said that she was going to take care of me. And she did that clean on to the Wednesday before she passed on a Friday. The last words out of her mouth while she was on her sick bed, while she was on her dying bed, was take care of those 2 girls. And so even in her passing on, she still wanted to make sure that she took care of me, and she knew that I loved her. I don't want to tear up, but when I think about it, that's a dedication. That is commitment. That is an individual that didn't birth me, but she took care of me better than anyone. So this book is to honor her. It's called More Than Enough. And I'll read what I wrote on the back. It says, more than enough has been a labor of love for the past 3 years since the death of my mother, Vivian Enoch Jeffries. Says, my mother believed in passing information through oral history. However, much of what she shared has been lost. As an effort to continue the tradition of sharing family history, I have opted to document much of what she shared. The information that my mother shared about her family living in Alamance County has been referenced through historical references, including the UNC Press, NC Jim Webb, and other sites obtained in my quest for information. More research is needed to compile a complete body of work, but this book, more than enough, provides an outline of more information to come. This book is the second in the series following. I also wrote down some of her recipes in More Than Enough cookbook. I didn't bring that, but I wanted to read just a little bit. I appreciate you all for listening. I wanted to read just a little bit about the importance of oral history. And this also can be found online. I work with an individual, I forgot something reads, but it's a young lady that's here, and she also assists with as far as reading and those things. And I hate that I'm blanking out on what it says, but importance of oral history. My mother instilled in me the tradition of passing down of information as she shared with me many stories about her grandfather, Papa, Walter Corbett, and other information about our family lineage. As I listened, there would be information that I would hear, but would struggle to remember it all, and I would find myself getting confused in the details. To prevent this from happening, from continuing to happen, I decided to start to write some of the information that she gave me and began to research for other historical references. Much of the information that I heard my mother share was based on mainly oral history. However, as I began researching some of the things that she shared, I started researching several websites and other historical sites such as the UNC Press, NC Jim Webb, and other North Carolina and Alamance County, and learned this yielded little information in written documented form. Numerous trips to Alamance County Public Library, UNC Chapel Hill, and internet searches presented virtual dead ends in learning about the life of African Americans in Alamance County, and presented a great need to supplement this deficit with an account of history from my mother's perspective, an African American woman born and raised in Alamance County with a record of nearly 9 generations of family lineage. Of course, more research is needed to compile a complete body of work, but this search as a start, as this is being completed on what would have been her 83rd birthday in August 2023, the third year of the anniversary of her passing. And I also wanted to have this as a celebration of Vivian Jeffries' life. And that's in this book, just real short. She was born in 1940, February 2nd. And she said, you know, Melissa, she called me Lisa, there was a blizzard when I was born. I was like, in Alamance County? I did not believe her. But, and when I was researching for her 75th birthday, Walter Boyd, which is a writer here in Alamance, was the Times News. He wrote an article that indeed, January 26, 1940, there was the biggest blizzard in Alamance County, like today, like it's one of the ones that's on record. And I was like, okay. And she was born February 2nd. And the mayor apparently had the only backhoe that was in Alamance County at his house where he was working on a project. And what had happened is my mom's dad had went to a funeral and he couldn't get back. So my grandmother had to send my mother's oldest sister to the midwife to bring her to the house to deliver her. And said that when she got to the midwife, the lady thought she heard a cat outside, and it was because my aunt was like kind of buried in all the snow. And so I was like, no, but lo and behold, that was actually the truth. And then it told me it was a testament to the strength of my grandmother, because after she gave birth to my mother, she had to get up and go outside, chop wood in order to heat the house also. So my mother was born in adversity, and she died in triumph. And I'm glad to be able to honor her just in this presentation. So thank you so much for sitting through. Again, my name is Melissa Enoch, More Than Enough, and I have a few other books upstairs. Thanks so much. Thank you.